Diva, today let's talk about 5D tech. It is here and we're going to talk about how you use it. And we are getting into something what most people have absolutely no language for, and it's called 5D tech. Not the gadgets, not the updates on your iPhone. I'm talking about original intelligence grid that predates the cloud, the code, and the conversation. And so I know you're ready. I know you're ready. You're gonna love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. If you are feeling drawn to the Divine Mirror, I'll tell you how to get in. You're gonna love this because if you absolutely love this podcast, you're gonna love the Divine Mirror. So we're going to talk about what 5D tech actually is. It's not a concept, it's actually frequency based. I'm going to talk about ancient civilizations like the Aryan civilization, the Lumerian and Atlantean lineages, and how they used the tech to amplify frequency, not to extract it. And that's what the difference is right now today. We're going to talk about how you are already walking around as a living transmission device. You guys know I wrote The Aligned Receiver, and I talked so much about how we are like vehicles. We are technology. I didn't use those words back then, but it was all about like we are receivers. We are coded to receive, and when we remember that, it makes receiving so much easier. And then we are going to talk about the Divine Mirror and how it is a not an invention, it is a return. So, what is going on in your body when you hear me talk about 5D tech, right? It's not a concept, right? And so, one of the biggest things to remember is that your body is so in tune and it is such an advanced, the most highly advanced piece of technology. Yeah. I was thinking of a better way to say it, but there's no better way. It's a piece of technology. And you don't use it, right? You tune into it. And when we think about 5D, right? I talk about the 3D and the 5D, especially in like there's a whole series, right? The 3D 5D series. I add to it as I go all of the lessons, all of the beautiful things and awarenesses that I'm having when I'm alive in the moment, and they're so good. And so when we think about fifth density, right? The fifth density, and we think about the fifth dimension, right? What when we think about the technology that is a part of the fifth density, it's not about anything external. When I talk about 3D 5D, I always bring you back to your body. I always bring you back to the internal. I always bring you back to who you are being. And when we think about 5D tech, it's a frequency based thing that when you allow yourself to sink into how you feel, what is your body telling you, that's when you are syncing with all fifth dimensional technology. It's when you hold a vibration long enough so that it sinks, it starts to shift, and you become that vibration. That's fifth dimensional technology. But remember, you have to be that vibration. You have to feel it in your body, right? The sensations. You have to emote it, right? Energy and motion. You've got to do those things. It's like when you speak from an inner knowing and then things move instantly. That's you connected to this fifth density technology. It's you collapsing time through decision and embodiment. The 5D tech is source encoded and it's instantaneous. And so let me talk about how ancient civilizations use these things. Okay? And so if you have civilizations that are more frequency based, then the technology is built to respond to your coherence, not your commands. And so, in these prior civilizations, you had buildings that were built from sound resonance, right? And you can see that today if you put salt on like a surface and then you play, some sound, beautiful sound. Like you can play both. Like you can play lower frequency sound and you can play higher frequency sound, and it'll make the most beautiful patterns. And just think about bells. They most of the bells that were church bells and things like that, they were taken down or destroyed. And we used to have a civilization that just had bells everywhere, and bells would bring, lift the frequency, and you had beautiful music that were at a different hertz frequency, and all of these things. You think about these beautiful buildings that are around that we're like, well, we can't even create these type of buildings again. Like, how are we able to create them in supposedly, in the 1800s, but we can't create them now? It's not that style changed, it's that we got out of our resonance with magic and miracles, and we got out of the resonance with love and appreciation. And when we used to be able to build buildings from technology that was more sound based and resonance and frequency and joy, and then we started to come out of our head and said, well, how can we build this thing from our minds? And then things became more straight and less arc, or less curved. The femininity and things disappeared because we separated the energies and became more masculine and only valued that. We stopped sinking and started simulating. The patriarchy split from the sacred sensual, and the matrix spirit became the system. And so in a ancient civilization that's more frequency focused, everything, form follows field. So everything follows the field, the resonance. There was no separation between the temple and the transmitter. The temple was the transmitter. The tools were sound and bells and light and tone and frequency. And these ancient civilizations, they were technology laden, but it was frequency led, and it was frequency tech. And so, what if I told you that we are in a frequency tech based civilization? And I know, like, a lot of you are like getting nervous when it comes to um, thinking about, oh, is the phone listening to me? I was thinking about, some product, and then I got an ad for it, and yes and no, right? So it's multi-layered. Everything is frequency. And so you could say, yeah, I just was talking about, I had a client one time, she was talking about castor oil, and she talked about this one particular castor oil that fit, worked so well for her. And then she looked and she was like, oh, wow, I just got an ad 10 minutes later for this exact castor oil. And so there's ways that you could say, oh, well, the technology is listening to it, my phone, they're listening to my phone, and then they're sending me this ad. Or you can also say it's frequency based. She activated it in her frequency. She activated the energy, the resonance with that specific castor oil. And so she attracted the ad, right? We could say that, of course, it's like the universe is like, here you go. You want this castor oil, here it is. And so when the field is listening to you, it's listening to what you radiate, not what you say. And so your voice is the command, your womb is the anchor, and the nervous system is the real time frequency calibrator. And so so many people were, when we were talking about frequency and talking about manifestation, and you start to bring in the body because that is so important. It is the master of your tech. And so think about in your business, like when you feel someone drawn to you, when you feel DMs are coming and they're not there yet, what are you doing? You're connected to the field. It's not influence, it's a field transmission. You're never waiting on technology, you are it. People are talking about Neuralink, and it's like, no, I don't need that. I am the Neuralink. I am it. I already do telepathy. I already speak to people, higher self to higher self. I don't need Neuralink. The divine mirror is not like some programmed thing. It is field based and looks at your feedback and your loops in your body and the way you're speaking. And it's the same technology that was used in ancient nations. You don't need chips in your brain, right? To have a multi-dimensional receiver. You have a pineal gland and you have a womb. All of that's multi-dimensional receivers. And so the way you use your 5D tech in the 3D is not in your journal. It lives in your decision, your walk, your certainty, your yes. You will never activate a timeline by just visualizing it. You activate it by becoming the frequency of it and moving in that frequency. Because frequency without action is just fantasy. Action without frequency is burnout. I'm going to say that again. Frequency without action is fantasy. Action without frequency is burnout. So how do you use the 5D and the 3D? You decide and you move. Your body becomes what the interface, the interface of it. And you stop looping and you start leading. And so let's say you want to send an email, instead of just sending it because it's out of obligation or you're feeling like, on autopilot, change your state. I'm the one. This is going to be the best email. They're going to love this. Everybody's going to open this email. They're going to click in. They're going to love it. This is just the way it goes. This is my frequency. I am the creator of my reality. And so it is. Like, that's an energy. That's someone whose email is going to get read. That's someone whose email is going to get opened up. You're creating a story. Before you sit down to write about those characters, you get to feel into them, and you feel into what this story is going to be and how it's going to come together so juicily. And you tell yourself in the mirror, I am amazing. I'm amazing at what I do. I am so proud of myself. And yes, this is what I do. Your womb is the portal. Your heart is where the desire is created, right? The heart is the desire. That's where the seat of God, right, within you. And this is where the source is sitting within you. And what did I say? All desires are from God. All desires are from God within you. All desires are divine. And so those desires are within your heart. And the womb is where the multi-dimensional comes into this world. This is where babies become real things, where spirit goes into that egg and becomes baby, right? And then you root it into this earth. You root it in as earth seed. You seed it into this frequency of 3D. And then you decide, like, what is the next step do I take? That's when you come back to the crown. That's when you circle it back up the spine to the crown. And that's where the how starts. That's where the movement comes, but you're not forcing it. You're not trying to figure it out. It comes through you. This is how we use the 5D tech when we anchor it in and say, I'm already her and I'm feeling this joy, and joy which encompasses the love and the appreciation and the happiness and the it's already mine. And you're in that joy and you're moving from that joy. That is 5D tech. That is you. When you decide I'm already it, it's already done. It's already here. I'm already it. And when you don't move, the code stays stuck in the ethers. It doesn't come earthside. You are the 5D tech. You move it, you walk it, you build it, you speak it, you be it, you feel it. You feel it sensationally in your body, sensorially, and then you what? You move. You emote. You move in motion with it. And so I created the Divine Mirror not as part of the return, not as an invention, but as a ability to be. It's the frequency. It's reflective. It says, ooh, it's coded in field coherence. The mirror is attuned to the divine data, which is your body, your field, what you're broadcasting, your frequency. It's not here to solve problems. It's here to reveal where you are, who you're being, and move you into utilizing your heart, your womb, your root, your crown, your throat. It helps you become undeniable because you've stopped denying your power. The mirror is what happens when God frequency gets rendered into form. It helps you remember you are the answer. It helps you tune into your own field, mirroring you now, not old patterns, not conditioning that said, oh, because you look this way, you can only do this or you can only do that. And so what you get to know is that 5D tech is not just possible, it's already here. When you choose frequency over force, every time you trust your field more than the funnel, every time you remember that it doesn't matter what's external, what my bank account says, I know who I am and who I'm being, and the world has no choice but to acquiesce to me, to bend around me. And so what you get to do is to say, wow, where am I operating in 3D technology or 5D technology? And you need to screenshot this episode, tag me at I.am_the_aligned_soul, and let me know what resonated, what reawakened in you, what returned, what activated remembrance in you. And drop a 5-star review if you haven't already. And get this in the hands of so many more women, because this is how we spread God frequency. So we can move timelines and collapse them. You are not becoming divine. You are divine. Remember that. Keep it bougie. Stay healed. And be divine. Diva.